Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 80th episode of the HSBG podcast. I'm your host, Educatedcollins. I'm here with my constant co-host, Shadybunny. Shady, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Collins. Just came off a really fun game we played together. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was really cool. Shady was trying to win. I wasn't, but he steered me in the right direction, and we just had like a 38 health cat game, which isn't really balanced if you think about it. But hey,
Not the norm for cat games. Not the norm. But
that's the
that's,
norm when I play him. I that in my
uh,
head. That's
doesn't
why I play
matter.
him, right?
Yeah, every time you select cat, you're like, surely I'm just gonna high roll and steal everyone's shit, right? Yeah, okay. Yep,
Yep, it was
can't go
pretty
wrong
good.
with it. Okay, man.
Always start with our weekly overview. How was your week, Shady?
Still pretty chill.
Okay.
I'm not 100% yet in terms of recovering from this flu or whatever it is. So I'm playing on my free to play accounts, but it's going quite well. We're winning a lot and just having a lot of fun. I'm getting really, really good at just going with the flow in this meta.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was talking to you about it before the podcast, where I was like winning a lot of Murloc lobbies with stats just
Mm-hmm.
because I played that game plan that was offered to me really well, instead of just being like, no, I must select the Snicker snack and find the Toxfin and stuff. And I was doing that a bit more before, obviously to a certain degree, of course, but just really leaning into whatever's being offered and then going with that. It feels so rewarding that I'm almost sad that at some point quests will go where I think we're really at the peak of rewarding flexibility for players, where it feels like if you can sort of just evaluate the game state and go with whatever is best, that you get rewarded very, very often.
Okay, so this is a little bit different than the general weekly overview, but you're basically saying this feels like one of the best metas or highest skill testing metas and balanced metas that you've played.
Uh, I'm not sure if I can make that claim, but the way how it feels to me,
Like, how
indeed,
do you
is
feel when I make that statement? Is it like I absolutely disagree, or is it like that's that's
so.
maybe a fair
I,
assessment,
I
or
I think if I were to make a call on that, yeah, I'd say this is definitely among the
mm-hmm.
highest skill
Okay,
metas we've had before. But that's obviously my personal bias. I'm doing
right, right,
well,
right.
and that's that's
I know about that.
exactly right. It's always easy to say, well, I must be doing well. I'm doing well, therefore skill must be getting rewarded because I'm such a skillful player, right? So it just feels like I can play so many different things, and specifically the heroes as well. Like
Mhm.
not losing on hero select is such a big deal.
That's that's been my biggest pet peeve for a while. Just besides the Death Rattle should deal one, but I've kind of moved away from that. You know what I mean? Like
Giving up
it's
on it,
like
right? Give it up. They're
yeah,
not gonna fix that. Yeah. Yeah,
I,
earlier today I had a reborn coiler be like, yep, getting hit for 22. Nice. Let's go.
um, but other than that, yeah, I that statement I wouldn't necessarily agree or disagree. I think it's fair to say that this is a pretty healthy meta. There's a lot of decision uh points. There's more decision points to make, I think, in the game right now than like standard and non-quest meta. I would say I think more about each turn or what I'm doing at each turn, more than if there's no quest. Sometimes the hero selection is autopilot. Sometimes the first like 5-6 turns are autopilot. But here I really don't get that feeling. Like there's always things to think about in the early game for me. So um, I do like that, and I definitely like that there's better heroes or more heroes that I think are worth to play. So are worth playing. So um, fair enough. Like obviously, I didn't make Lobby Legends these months, so that's pulling the weight down a little bit. But other than that, like I think it's fair. Uh, as for me and my week's pretty good. I played a couple of games. I'm definitely chilling in terms of how much pressure or how much you know weight the games have on me. If I lose a game, I don't really care as much because I'm not pushing for anything. Where pretty much the whole year, if I lost the game, it hurt. Yeah, because I'm like, that's pushes me a lot farther away from my goal. So right now, I play games, win or lose. It's not really a problem to me. So the games have been funner just because there's no pressure tied to them. So that's been really nice. I've also been playing some arena. and other games like that. Like I had the coaching game and stuff like that. Also had the esporters teaching class yesterday. That was actually pretty fun. Just doing that, kind of putting my thoughts into words, because normally I don't do that. That's more Shady's prerogative. So kind of interesting to see what I thought about things. Yeah, pretty cool week for me overall. Had a good time.
The thing you said about there being less pressure, so you're enjoying the games more.
Mm.
I think there can definitely be like a two-way street where I know a lot of other players who might enjoy the game less if they are, like if you're prepping for Lobby Legends right now, you still are very, focused and there is a goal. But I think after the last Lobby Legends is done, and ladder doesn't really matter anymore, at least not until they announce the next qualifying period or whatever they want to do. I think there's definitely a lot of people that are going to have this just
What do I do
decrease.
now? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, more like, oh, the game doesn't really matter, so I don't really enjoy it as much. So it is interesting to see that it can go both ways, where
Well,
you're like, oh, the stress is gone now, so I'm enjoying the game more.
I would say that's because, like, to what I am playing less, because I'm not really playing off stream. Where
Yeah.
before I'd play off stream like constantly, like I would say like over like a third of my games were off stream, which is like a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe less, like, but like a third to a fourth, like I think that's pretty healthy. So like I'm playing less games, and then also like I stream the games. So if you're not a streamer and you're just playing, to try to reach high MMR, then maybe there isn't that much of a pool, because like, oh, there's no chance for me to to make it to Lobby Legends. So I am gonna play anyways, right? So it's not like I'm gonna stop playing. There may be some people that just play different games or stream different games, and that's definitely up to them. But like, I like the game. It's not like I torturing myself. So.
I guess it is a good change of pace from the I have to like, you know what, I enjoy playing and I'm
it
going to play,
it
and then when
reminds me
I'm
of
done, I'm
playing
done.
Arena. I don't know if that's a weird reference, but Arena
No,
essentially
no.
was like this mindset for me the whole
Yeah,
time. So
I completely feel you.
okay.
Being an arena main myself for like 5 years,
Um,
it's a lot easier to. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's not fun to get a excuse me. It's
yeah,
not fun to get a bad run,
one
but
win.
it's not like like you're down 400 on a day and you're
Yeah.
trying to
You don't
qualify for
start
lobby.
crying because you
That's,
got one win in arena.
oh
Like
my god, yeah, dude, it's so brutal when you just when you're trying to qualify and you like it's kind of like I'm a lot better with it right now, but sometimes you just have that feeling. It just starts sinking in, like, I'm gonna die this game. Oh god, I'm gonna die this game, right? Like when you start thinking like
yeah,
that when it's not going well,
yeah.
like that's awful, right? That's terrible for your performance. It's terrible for your enjoyment of the game. So I'm better at that right now. But it's yeah, man, that feeling didn't happen with Arena. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose
Yeah.
this one. I'm gonna lose this one. Oh my god, no! It's all because that fucker won the 50-50. Right? Like,
I will say that
yeah.
sometimes happened when I was having a 0-3 run. Like
Oh, going 0-3. But
that
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 happened like legit once every 3 months or some
yeah,
crazy shit, right?
yeah,
Like,
that's true. That is
yeah.
actually true. So
0-3s were very rare among very high level players. So yeah. It
uh,
happened, yeah. Sometimes you're just like, well, this guy also had a Deathwing.
yeah.
That's interesting. Right? Yeah.
But yeah, but generally, like it's been pretty chill for me. I've been having an okay
All right. That was a fun weekly overview. One of the better ones, I would say.
time. I'd rate it like number 4 out of 80. So
Number 4 out of 80. Yeah, that's pretty good. Top 5.
yeah, I was actually making a dig, but then I was like, wait, there's 80 of them. It's actually a big compliment.
Yeah, it's like 4. Hey, wait, it's out of 80.
Yeah,
Yeah,
out of 80. Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Next up, we have Lobby Legends number 8 coming up. I believe it's tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
this weekend.
yeah, so definitely this weekend. I don't know what I'm doing, whether I'm going to be catching it live or watching a VOD or anything. Do you have any plans, or do you want to make plans? Or
I don't know the exact schedule.
it starts 12 a.m. PST, 9 a.m. CET. So
Oh, that's really good hours for me.
really good hours for you. So what you're
9 a.m.
saying
CET.
is
So what I'm saying, if you're down, I'm down. Basically, if you want to
right.
co-cast it, then yeah, let's do
When's
it.
9 a.m. PST for me?
So it's 7 p.m. for me right now. So in 14 hours.
14 hours.
14 hours from now.
I love it. I'm doing. So that's like quite 2 a.m. for me.
Well, that's why I said if you're down, right? Because
That's
it's
not
so easy for me.
great.
Yeah.
I would have
So
to I'd have to sleep early today, basically.
well, I'll see you when I see you. Basically, if you're around for whatever reason, if you either got to bed early, or if we couldn't sleep, then we can do it.
I'd
Otherwise,
have
we
to
can.
sleep super early. I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind getting up early for this.
Okay.
Maybe like no promises, right? But if I if my alarm works and I actually wake up at 2 a.m. It means I have to sleep early today though. But I could probably make it work. So
And
if
I'll just see it, right? Like I'll be
yeah,
streaming, and then if
theoretically
you're around,
we might
you
watch
jump
it
on.
live. That sounds okay to me.
All right, exciting, guys! For those of you catching this straight when it's uploaded, might be able to catch the stream.
Yeah, at least I have to sleep. Okay,
Yeah.
my plans of my whole day have changed. All right, but that's fine. I do think it's pretty nice watching Lobby Legends, especially if it's live. So try to get that going today. But yeah, pretty interesting people. I don't think there's that many people from NA. I think NA's been slacking. I think it's only Kurt, or if I'm missing other people.
Let's see.
I don't even
Sliders
know if
is
you can
EU,
read it
right? Yeah,
from here.
Sliders is EU. No, I'm reading. I'm reading. Razor Mall? Where is he from?
I'm not super familiar.
No idea.
Like
Yeah, I
Kurt
don't
is
know the name.
the only NA name that's like jumps
Yeah,
out to me as
Kurt, I know.
familiar. Yeah.
You know, Olex EU, Seniors EU, Tricksters EU, Sliders EU. Hey, man. EU, baby. Let's
Yeah,
go.
he's done well this time.
Yeah,
Kurt
proud.
wins it all. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, I was like, there's one NA guy. You guys stand no chance. All right. Cool stuff. That'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
should
got,
be a.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it should be a fun one.
Yeah. The one thing we're probably going to talk about balance and stuff later. The one thing that is a little silly, I hope that it doesn't
Is
make too much
Khadgar
of a
Evil Twin
difference.
or no?
Yeah, Khadgar Evil Twin. Now, Lobby Legends is fast paced enough that it's hard to just give me time. Let me just make a big deflecto. Let me
Yeah,
just
but the thing
let the
is,
cat
it's like
build.
let me just find a macro.
Yeah, if they hit, it's disgusting.
Yeah,
Right?
like that's not. You don't need time for that. It's like okay.
Well, you need to make it. You need to
Yeah,
find
shady.
double Khadgar, and it needs to be like big enough. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you're not gonna hear from me that it's not absolute bullshit. I guess what I'm just hoping is that the environment is fast paced enough. But see, the problem with Evil Twin is that it's not a useless quest without Khadgar. It's a really good quest
It's just
without
good.
Khadgar.
Yeah.
So if they're not low rolling, they'll survive,
Mhm.
and then they'll get to the point where it's basically an Exodia
Like you
piece.
play it normal, and then as soon as you hit the combo, you win. Like
Yeah,
so.
yeah. No, I've been
You've
on the
been that
receiving
guy.
end of it. I've
Oh,
dished it out myself, so it's pretty disgusting.
I really didn't understand when they changed it. I thought it was a bug, and they were fixing it by removing it again or
Do
something.
you want to get into it right now, or like is it a dedicated topic?
Sure. We can.
All right, we can just go straight into. Okay, so for those of you who are not entirely aware what we're talking about, with I think 2 patches ago, because there was like a hot fix or so, they made a change where Evil Twin, the quest that summons an additional copy of your highest health minion, this did not used to work with Khadgar, and the reason that it didn't work, we assumed, was because Khadgar said card, and quest is not a card. Now, we have a little bit of insight due to Twitter comments from developers, where they reason that a quest is more like a card than a non-card, So I think that's sort of the reasoning where it leans more towards being a card than not a card. So for consistency's sake, they made it work with Khadgar. So apart, like looking at purely
I
that reasoning,
have not heard that rationale before.
yeah, but because they've very, very clearly stated that it's not a bug that Khadgar now interacts with Evil Twin, right?
Yeah,
So
I
some
did
people thought it was
know
a
that.
bug at the start. So there's two sides to this where the one is, yeah, sure, you might want to do like consistency with wording and all of that, but in the end, what matters is how does it affect gameplay, how does it affect balance, and it's completely imbalanced. It's insane. So what people are doing, the two strongest minions with this setup is Deflecto and Mackerel. So one is you make a big Deflecto bot and you put a menace on it, and then you play two Khadgars, and then your quest will make 4 more Deflecto bots, which means that even if they use a blaster, sure, one Deflecto bot will die, but then the menace will spawn, the 4 other Deflecto bots get reshielded, and then the fucking circus starts again where all the Deflecto bots attack, and then one of them dies, and then they all get reshielded. So you can have so if an opponent has like 80-80 Deflectobot, or even say like 50-50, you can have like 200 health units on your board, and you're still coming up short a lot of the time just because of the Deflectobots being like reset and reset again and reset again and reset again. So you need to be so much stronger than the opponent to overpower this.
And that's
So you
not
need to
even
have,
the worst one.
yeah, the mech roll is even worse because nothing has to die for them to reset. So with the mech roll, but the thing is, like, if you get to like an 88 deflectable with minutes, it's already over. Like, realistically speaking, you're outclassing 99% of the boards.
Sure.
Like,
But
for you
if
to,
your opponent has Evil Twin 2, now you want the macro.
yeah, I've not really been in an Evil Twin finals, so.
I haven't either. Right there, yeah, but
But yeah, so this is one where I was really disappointed to see that we got a hotfix. Where remember, like last time we talked about how Golden Hammer and Kidnapsack were temporarily disabled. Really cool that they were so fast on that to fix it, because they're back in it right now.
yeah, but isn't it?
Yeah.
Aren't they saying that this change is okay? Like they're
I think
okay with it.
I think you're saying from a consistency of wording point of view, it's okay. I think if you look at it from a pure gameplay, balance, mechanics point of view, it's not okay.
But did they talk about that, right? Like all we have to go on is what they said. I don't think they've said, oh, even though the wording is consistent, the balance is not.
They've omitted it, essentially. They've chose. I think we haven't really gotten confirmation of them saying, we think this is balanced. We can, of course, infer that from the inaction, right? The interaction is still there. So if they don't remove it, that is sort of them saying it's fine. Now, what I'm hoping is that they're not sure yet, and that they're kind of looking and saying, okay, we don't, we put this in a game, we don't want to change it straight away. How can we fix this and that? I hope that they just come around and then they say, okay, well, this is stupid. I don't really care about the consistency and the wording. Khadgar doesn't work with Evil Twin, period. Because
the game is so consistent, anyways, right? Like,
yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, like whatever, like not a big deal for me, really. But the I really like where Evil Twin is at, and what I'm afraid that they're gonna do is be like, oh, this seems pretty strong. We're gonna make Evil Twin harder to earn.
Oh, harder to earn.
Or we're gonna make
that wouldn't
Evil Twin
solve it though.
Yeah, or we're gonna make Evil Twin unavailable in mech lobbies, something like that. But I'm like, man, like copying 5 Hydras is still like bullshit, right? Like, it's like copying.
I like that.
Copying 5. What?
I like that. That sounds fun.
I've done it. I've done 5 Hydras myself.
Okay.
It was good fun, yeah. So, especially with Ball of Minions being a card, it's too damn easy to sell your whole board, and play the ball, make a big Hydra, and then we play some Khadgars. So it just feels like I'm scared that they're going to do a change or a fix that is not like, hey, this is stupid. We're going to make it so that Khadgar doesn't affect Evil Twin. And, the rest is as it was. Because I like where Evil Twin is at. I think the quest reward is really fun to play with. And yeah, it's kind of like with Cookie Chemist, right? When they were changing everything except Cookie Chemist, to be like, no, the Chroma Wing has to go, and then this has to go, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, we're going to keep Cookie Chemist. So I hope that this is not a second experience of that, where they're going to like try to justify the Khadgar it being okay with the evil twin and then change everything else around it instead of just saying, you know what, maybe evil twin shouldn't work with Khadgar.
Speaking of consistency, it's called Evil Twin, not Evil Twins. Why does it work with Khadgar? Huh?
Well, one of the funniest complaints is that the Khadgar copy doesn't have the mustache.
Doesn't have the mustache. I can't. That's
Yeah.
horrible. You gotta fix
It
that.
would be a lot more funny if there was like 4 mustaches on the board, like. So yeah, that's sort of the meme complaint people have.
Fair enough. But yeah, I agree. Like, I haven't done it myself, but I've seen other people do it. It generally just looks stupid. So I thought the bug was that it worked now. Like, that they were going to fix it by removing it. So kind of interesting that it's actually the opposite of their thought process there. But yeah, we'll see how it affects Lobby Legends. I do think it's probably going to affect it since it's a good quest and it's easy to like. If these players know that they want to win, right? Like, they're not going to skip it. Like, there's no way, right? So
Yeah,
if they
no,
see it, they're going to take it and they're going to use it. So
for sure.
I'd be surprised if you
Um,
don't see it in Lobby Legends. For sure.
There's just been a pretty high volume of high level players on Twitter complaining about this, where sometimes it's not really, like with Murlocs and stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, some people don't like it, this and that, but this has been very sort of unanimous, where people just go like, hey, this is ridiculous. This is so stupid. Like, please take this out of the game. So yeah.
Fair enough. All right, next topic. We have a new hotfix patch or a data only patch coming out, patch 24.6.2. So this is just some bug fixes and some small changes to the game. Came out yesterday. I actually didn't know until this morning that there was some changes, but kind of cool to see that they're still working on some things. We did talk about them. Unfortunately, there was no Khadgar change or anything like that, but there's some other changes that I think are pretty cool. The Golden Hammer Kidnap Sap has been returned. So this was removed. Do you want to talk about why it was removed now that it's done?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So there was a pretty elaborate bug with Golden
Elaborate.
Hammer.
I love it.
Yeah, it wasn't some, like, it really feels
You
like
had
a
to
cheat
know.
code.
You had to know how
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah.
Like, remember, like, back in the day when you like played games or your Nintendo or whatever. All right, like if you go to this village and you like step left, right, bottom up, press A and B, and then suddenly you're like invincible or some shit, right? Like, and that's how this bug felt, where you had to roll a lava lurker, cast the hammer on the lava lurker, and then after that turn, when the hammer came back, all your spellcrafts would become permanent. Like, it was insane. So the hammer would just make things golden permanently after you used it on the lava lurker. So there's something with that interaction that broke it.
Mechanic with the lava lurker, yeah.
Yeah, and that's that. People were obviously abusing that, so I try to make a point to not talk about it on my stream or on the podcast, because we don't want to be like, oh guys, there's this insane bug. Now please don't use it, right? So yeah.
I mean, you can kind of theorize what's going on, right? Because normally when you play spellcraft minions, you don't get them back. So usually, I assume when you put a spellcraft on the lurker, it just makes that spellcraft a permanent thing. But then it disappears forever, so you don't get it back. But with this returning spellcraft, you're getting the same ability back, and it's keeping that love. It's keeping the change that the lava lurker itself is doing to the card. So.
Well, spellcraft's return, but the minion needs to be on the board for it, right?
You get a new spellcraft. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the same one theoretically. I mean, that's a theory. I don't know. Maybe you are getting a new one. It's just weird interaction with a spellcraft quest, because that is new completely. But it didn't work with Kidnap. I assume.
Well, Kidnap Sec was removed as well, so I'm guessing something weird happened with that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyways, they're back, and supposedly it's all fixed now. So I haven't seen any reports of the bug happening anymore. So it'd be interesting though, right? Like, how many people? It's like someone that missed that and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna roll for my lava lurker now." It's like, hey, I didn't win the game.
I never abused the bug. I can say that with yeah. I'm innocent here. That wasn't me, Covio.
Didn't need it.
I just didn't get it offered. but yeah, they're back in the pool. I think they're good quests. So happy to see them back. Well, Hammer, I still have question marks on like how balanced that one is, but like theoretically, they're good quests. Hire investigator. Its old baseline was end your turn with unspent gold 3 times. Now it's end your turn unspent gold 2 times. So it just got a lot easier to complete this hire investigator quest, which I think for us is kind of funny because we were saying this quest was like really good, and it's now just
Well, yeah,
even
I mean,
easier.
sample size of one for me, but I did need to play a little bit more with it. But yeah, there was potential for sure for me with this one.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I already liked the quest, and now it's easier, so seems seems good for
I
me.
didn't get it today, so I couldn't really try it
I
out.
played one game, Shady. And, we didn't get it either. So
I remember that one. That
yeah.
was a good one.
Volatile Venom. So its old ability. Your minions have +8/+8 after they attack. They die horribly. Now it's your minions have +7/+7. So they're nerfing Volatile Venom that line. So
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Like it was really good.
Well, there's another line in the patch that says that
Well,
it's been
we
made
haven't said
easier to
that yet.
earn.
We haven't, we're not there yet. We're just like talking about it. Oh,
Well,
I think that's
I don't want
fair.
to talk about one without the other because it doesn't make sense.
Well, okay, fine. The next line is volatile venom has made easier to earn. Now, I think when you put them together, it doesn't make a lot of sense because I think the quest is really good, but they making it easier to earn. I think is more impactful than the stat loss. So
You overkill a lot of the time
yeah,
anyway with your
yeah.
shit when it's that big. So now I did see Volatile Venom today, and
Mhm.
I really didn't want to complete it, but I think it was a very specific situation where I think I was on a zero armor hero, and like beasts and mechs were in or so, but it was like 45 minions had to die. I was like, holy shit.
45 minions.
45, yes.
Uh,
So
that's
the made easier to earn, I think, is
maybe
it's not going to be a
justified.
huge jump, right?
Yeah,
So maybe it's a marginal
marginal. Okay,
marginal increment where was made easier. Because yeah, 45 minions that had to die. That's
that's a
oof, man,
long
that's a
time.
lot. That's a next game kind of quest.
Yeah.
Because I mean, imagine that you have like 5 death rattles. That still takes quite a while, right?
Well, let's
So
say
I
on
think
average you have eight minions die a time. 45 will take you what eight eight turns. So if
well,
you
you'd probably only take it if you'd have multiple. I didn't have death rattles ready,
yeah,
so
but
like
like
for me,
but the turn you buy you pick it, you're not gonna have a full board. So even if you have multiple death threats, you're still gonna lose some in the early game that you might
yeah,
be able
I
to
guess what I'm
keep.
trying to say is if you're strong, it's fine because then you could sit there and wait for it and this and that because it is a
8
nice
turns
quest
though,
reward.
right? Like turn 4,
But it wouldn't take 8 turns like if
okay,
you were to
7
take
turns
them.
or whatever. Like that's turn
But yeah, whatever.
11.
We don't have to get stuck on this, but that was probably a zero armor hero.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Fair enough.
what I'm saying is there's probably going to be plenty of scenarios where you're still taking it
Okay.
because it's not been made harder to earn, and we were completing it before.
Mhm.
So if any,
Oh
excuse me,
no.
if anything, it's still it's easy enough because we were completing it before already,
Right.
and it wasn't made harder to earn. So
Okay. Tiny henchman as well. It's been easier to earn, and the golden hammer is also easier to earn. Um, I did think the golden hammer was good, so making it easier to earn is like
it'll surprise me.
concerning, but yeah. But tiny henchman I think is fair because that's been the quest reward that I've been like laughing at the most. All the other quest rewards I feel like have their like place. Tiny henchman as well, but like sometimes it just feels like it doesn't matter. Because it takes long enough to trigger that you're just like, I don't really care about it at this point. Um, Stolen gold has been made harder to earn, which I don't even see anymore. So I I guess it's maybe too hard nowadays that a
I
lot of people are
skipped
going
one
for. Yeah.
yesterday where I needed to spend 50 gold to get it, which is not insane
No.
again, but in that spot, I just didn't want it.
Okay. Interrogator, Whitemane, and Vigilant Stoneborn. What card is that?
The 2/6 that gives you taunt.
Oh, it's been added to the pool of neutral minions in one of Wondrous Whistleblow's lucky rolls. Does this mean that when you roll the neutral minion? Oh no, the pool of neutral. You can roll neutral minions.
Well, you have that tech roll where
Yeah,
it's
is that not
self.
is that the
I,
neutral minion roll? Is that
I
what they
think
call it?
so, because
Oh,
it's all neutrals, right? It's like
yeah, I
Zap.
guess it is. I've not
Yeah.
looked at it like that. Like I look at it as the tech roll, not the neutral minion roll.
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe there is specifically another role where one is the tech role
That
and the other
wouldn't
is.
make as much sense though, right? Like why would
Yeah.
Wisdom Ball
So
give you I'm just gonna give you neutrals? Like that's the game plan. So I assume it's that role. But does that mean that there's 9 options and you're getting 7 out of the 9? Is that the
yeah, that was
difference?
my question as well. Like, is there a chance I miss Baron on that role?
Yeah.
Essentially, is there a chance I miss Bran? So I
I,
guess we'll have to
I'm looking at
find
the
out.
note there. Is there yeah, that's
Usually when I do that, it's for Bran or for Baron. Yeah.
Brand Baron, yeah. But yeah, that makes Wisdom Ball a little bit worse. Though Wisdom Ball is like still pretty broken, so you're not gonna
Oh,
be
I,
like,
I can see. I think there's a sparring partner in that role right now.
yeah.
So maybe it's just like either sparring partner or the 2/6. Maybe it's like intelligent like that, where it won't give you both the taunt options. I'm not sure though.
That makes a lot of sense, Shady. I don't think
It'd
they're
be
gonna do
nice, but yeah.
that. That makes a lot of sense. I don't think they're doing that.
Like, do I get a Baron? No, but 2 options to taunt though. Ooh,
Ooh.
nice.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think it changes what you think about Wisdom Ball, but it can be annoying, actually. If you miss like a key card like Brand Baron or even Selfless or Uther, so kind of an interesting change there. Armor tier updates as well. Cthulhu has less armor. Moved to armor tier 4. I was really shocked when I read this. I guess they
Yeah.
don't list. They don't watch the podcast.
Well, they do. They told us, right? But the my more conservative estimate of armor tier 2 was even, too aggressive.
Yeah.
Where they're like, whoa, 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 it's Cthulhu. Let's not be hasty here. Let's move to armor tier 4 and
To
let's
to
check it
to
out.
be fair, Cthulhu has been like very low rated for almost its inception. So
Yeah.
maybe giving it like a week or two of dominance is like making up for years of neglect and copium. That's not how it works. Don't do that with your kids. But yeah, I'm surprised it's only getting nerfed to armor tier 4. I still think it's going to be a very strong hero. It's very playable. This doesn't really even change my. I guess it does change my perspective a little bit of how I want to play it, but armor tier 4 is like a healthy armor tier to be in, and the hero power is really good. It's definitely one of the better hero powers to have. So still
Yeah,
play it.
this is still a pick for
A
sure.
snap pick,
Yeah,
yeah. As
yeah,
well
my
as that,
Cthulhu game's been going well.
yeah. As well as that, Jailer now also has more armor. I thought Jailer was playable. I guess the one concern with Jailer was like people were playing it without really thinking about it. Like they weren't focused on death battle stuff, so you
Yeah,
can have like poor games with Jailer. Even saw people do like juggler comp with Jailer, and that felt like that looked pretty good to me. So there are some things you can do with it, but you do have to kind of force a composition that can summon a lot of different death rattles. But giving it more armor means the quests are easier and it might survive a little bit longer. So definitely a good buff for Jailer. I do think the stats were deceptive if you play Jailer correctly, but the people that like Jailer are gonna be a little bit happier in that.
yeah. For me, it's nice. I pick this hero from
Mm-hmm.
time to time for sure. Yeah, when we look at stats here, like top 5%, I think it's tier 4 or something. Uh, yeah, it's not definitely not a premium hero for most people, but that makes sense if you're gonna pick Jailer in no beast, no mech lobbies, for
Yeah,
instance.
I think that's what's
Fast
going on.
control.
And it seems like it's not winning games either. So that's also a big like concern. I do think mechs are probably the best if you want to win, just because making big deflectors is really really powerful. But I can.
Really good at Evil Twin, by the way, because you can just
Hey,
hero
let's.
power your shit every
I don't
turn.
know. Like Evil Twin's not that hard to make good, right? Like I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah, no, no,
everyone.
no. But I'm just saying, really good with that. But yeah, that's true. Most heroes can win off an Evil Twin.
But yeah, I think the jailer more armor is fine to me. Cthulhu not being hit heavy is a bit concerning in my opinion, but it's whatever. Hey, if you go top 5% last 7 days, the best hero is Secret Guy. That's actually what. That's actually
Oh,
so
I have top
concerning.
5 last 7 days, and it's Cthulhu for me.
Oh
Where are you getting
really?
Secret Guy?
Mine is Secret Guy. Let me refresh. No, it's still
Secret
Secret
Guy
Guy.
is top 5 or 6 for me. Yeah. Number 6 right now.
It's number one.
Okay, so do you have certain minion types available?
I do. You're right. You're right. That is what's going. Okay,
Okay.
that is true. Apparently, you're right. Okay, all right. That actually just solves it. You're right. I had some minion types were not available, like dragons and stuff like that. Kind of cool though, but that might not matter because it means that there's significantly less games that they're tracking. So it might just be a blip in the radar. So that's fair. Thank you for the fix.
All good.
All right. And those are
These
all
hero, I was gonna
things.
say these hero tier lists always are a bit weird. But
Mm.
I have to keep in mind that it's
It
played
did
at a
make
very
sense. I
level.
agree. That's why I was talking about it because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Uh,
Yeah, the one thing we did mention it, but very, very briefly, that Tiny Henchman is easier to earn,
mhm.
which I think is nice because there's definitely been some games where I'm okay with it, where it's definitely not an insane quest. It's not a hard carry quest, but it can be quite a satisfying quest if you have like 3 good minions to buff. So like Deflecto, Bronze Ward, and Cyclone is like a simple example.
Yeah, and
Just nice little bonus.
I do want to talk about the armor, the arena changes actually. Since there are
Arena changes. Is it a Light Forge? Hello.
no, there was a bug with arena where your discover minions didn't work, so they actually just took out arena. So you can't even play arena right now.
Pepe hands.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have seen that where people say like, "Oh, I can't play my game mode." So
have they ever done that? I don't think so, right?
no, there's definitely been some egregious things where entire cards weren't in, but here
Yeah.
I read here like this is such a comical bug fix line. Fix the bug where the basic set was missing from the draft pool. It's like, is that really just a bug? Is that like, it's a minor, you know what? Who needs like all the basic cards anyway? Like, let's be honest, like
Yeah.
the whole basic set, nobody misses that.
Mm.
So it's funny to just have that slid in there with just one line. Like, it was a minor bug where the whole basic set was not available.
Yeah.
So yeah, just shit, shit like that. Pretty funny.
Yeah, we're used to that as arena players. That was on the daily.
Well, maybe not on the daily, but yeah, no, it's not uncommon to have significant, like shit like in Battlegrounds where that shit gets fixed within hours, where it gets disabled, right? And then instead of like, I remember when Frog was like crashing the game, it's like, okay, well, just take it out and we'll figure it out later.
Yeah. But yeah, and pretty interesting for arena that you can't even play right now. Hopefully they fix it soon. I have been playing arena more since I'm not pushing for lobby legends or anything. So it's been a nice change of pace, I guess. I'm just playing with the old stuff, especially this particular meta is like the meta from like 3-4 years ago, actually. So
Right? Yeah, I could play that.
yeah, it's great. I was
I
like,
could
oh,
be
I
down with
remember, I
it.
know every card.
I do remember someone coming in my Twitch chat saying like, "Hey man, like we were playing or just asking what would Shady do, right? Because this is this old meta." I was like, that was so cool that in a way, like how I played Arena all these years ago is still relevant. It was like he had to explain to his friend that Zombie Chow was a good card. Just couldn't get his head around it. Like, no, it's really good. Like playing a 2/3 on turn one, it's great. And then like same with Muster for Battle. They're like, no,
It's
Muster for
funny.
Battles. It's
I like Zombie Chow for a different reason. Like it's just something I can play and like pretend that I have tempo, and then my late game is just like 8 drops and 9 drops, and you're like,
yeah,
man,
no, but I mean, it's good for either
yeah,
side, right? It's
yeah.
it's good for people that want the board to kill you, and it's good for people that want the board to not die. So, like either side wants to play a Zombie Chow on one for sure.
But yeah, it's fun times. Maybe we'll do some mystery box. You remember that? Remember that shit?
Oh yeah, man, that could be fun. Jesus, God, I can like remember curves and stuff. But yeah, so be like, was it 4 3 drops here to 1 5? Oh god, yeah,
Just feel it, shitty. Do what I do. Just
yeah.
feel
No,
the curve.
going with the flow.
Yeah.
All right, let's queue up some Arena. Oh wait.
I mean, I guess we're kind of done with the patch. Do you want any like
Anyway,
final balance changes for opening
no,
lobby?
just the obvious one that I'd repeat. Where so I made a bit of a list right on Twitter where
Mm-hmm.
I replied to I believe Sleepy sort of made a meme tweet where he said, "Oh, Evil Twin Khadgar's bullshit." And I was like, you know what? Remove Coiler, remove Murlocs, remove this, remove that. Just keep Hogger and Pashmar, and I'll be fine.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I read that too, and I was, you know, what my thought was, that's
what was
not
your
too
thought?
bad.
It's not a bad meta.
Like these changes
Uh,
aren't too bad. But yeah, it is removing a ton of like the compositions that are fun, I guess.
Yeah, so I'll read it out. It was like delete Evil Twin, delete Murlocs, delete Mackerel, delete Leapers, delete Legion Overseer, delete Coiler, delete Taragosa. Actually, just delete all comps except Hogger, Agam, and Pashmar.
Yeah, let me find it.
So yeah, not a bad one. So I replied to that with my list. Number one was Lich B, because as much as I hate Evil Twin Chad, I still think that losing the game because you queued against a Lich on turn 5 is just absolute bullshit. Yeah, or at least Evil Twin Chat, they still need to make it to that point. You still need to queue into them later. Lich so very early in the game can just ruin your whole game. And then so those are the two, right? Lich B and Evil Twin, and then
Mm-hmm.
the third one is
No beast, mech,
addressing
Murloc.
the no beast, no mech, but then Murlocs in lobbies where I did say that for me that's fine because I usually find a way to either do something else and like try to get a divine shield here or there to counter poison or just do the poison thing myself. But I know that a lot of people find it a very linear way to play because you know that you're not going to get cleaved, you know that there's not going to be tokens. So making like 20 health Murlocs and they all have poison is extremely strong in that kind of lobby. Like you have to try really hard to get around it. Like the burden is on the other player, so you got to do something like play two of those Divine Shield Quillbore and then try to value trade, or you need to have your own Selfless Baron to counter their poison. So I'd say those are the three complaints. The first two more so than the last one. Lich B just still dealing
Hmm.
15 damage to people on turn 5, turn 6, and then Evil Twin Khadgar interaction.
I have an interest. So, okay, what about this for Murlocs? You remove Toxfin, right? And then you add S Siphon. And then you add a minion that's like, at the start of combat, give 2 random friendly Murlocs poison. Yeah, so you're capped to 2 unless you golden it. So I guess you'd have to make it like a 5 or a 6 tier minion so that there's actually a limit. So in Murloc lobbies, you can get two poisons, but if you want like a full poison Murloc lobby, you actually have to like try a little bit harder. What's your thoughts?
Does it poison itself or not? That's a
It
big
it
deal.
it poisons 2 random friendly. I guess you could, if you want to make it even worse, you could say 2 other random friendly
Yeah,
Murlocs.
that's the difference, right? If it will poison itself, it's good. Otherwise, it's trash. Because then you need to have a dead card on your board.
Yeah. So which one's more balanced in your like? Would you rather have it poison
I
itself
would I
or?
wouldn't play the one that says Otter. So
Oh, okay. So
and you're already making it worse than Toxfin because it's temporary. So I wouldn't
right.
say that it would be.
So it has to be able to poison itself. Okay.
It has to be able to poison
Okay.
itself.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Okay.
don't
I
think
hear
about
you.
it.
Okay. What's your thoughts on
Like
that though? Just random thought.
No, I mean, seems like an interesting concept.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about it. Like, what would you play? Then the push is harder for queen, right? It means
Right.
that you can't just
But
do.
that's good though, right?
No, it's good. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I don't think that you should very, very reliably make 4 poisons blast yourself as Baron.
Plus,
Like
yeah,
that's
it's
so
too
many of
easy.
my in those kind of lobbies. That's so many of my first places where I just pick like a Rana and then roll with honchos, get strong, and then la 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 poison, poison, poison. Especially in a Snicker Snack game, you just literally have to find one Toxfin and everything's poisoned. But so your suggestion is a Murloc that has at the start of combat poison 2 friendly Murlocs. Yeah.
Yeah. So you wouldn't be able to just like you in Murloc games. You're like, okay, I could still do some poison, but it's not your whole game plan. You're not limited to like everyone
I
has
mean,
to play this.
you can run multiple copies of it though, right?
I guess you could, huh?
So if you
It'd
run
have to be a tier 6 then, wouldn't it?
Well, if you make it a tier 6, I think the whole poison, the purpose of the poison is kind of gone. Where poison is there so the little man can fight the big man, right? Where you're like,
Okay, so
you're not
then it'd
automatically.
have to be tier 5 because it's between the
Yeah,
two, right? But I guess you could run 2.
yeah. So the initial take on it sounds good, but I'm also thinking, is it going to be problematic where maybe it's then too easy? Like you roll 2 of them and then you'll have your 4 poisons no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like initially it does sound good, but then you're thinking, okay, what if they just play 2 of them? That's still 4 poisons. And the fact that it's only start of combat doesn't really matter because they'll have it every fight. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe design wise, that is still like a little difficult to make it work. Because then people might complain like, well, they just roll 2 of these things and I have a board full of poison, right? So that's at least with Toxfin they have to roll 4 of them. Like this, you roll 2 of them
But
and
you
you
see,
find.
Toxfin has like that young Murkai synergy and stuff like that, where it's like very easy
Oh,
to.
I think in the quest meta, yes, Toxfin is bullshit because you have Mask for end of turn triggers happen twice.
Mm,
So if you have Brand with Murkai and Mask, one Toxfin is just like the whole board. And same thing with Snickersnack. So I do agree that in the quest meta, Toxfin is bullshit. I think after quests are gone, Toxfin feels a lot more manageable where
right.
you pretty much just need a Murkai for it to be bullshit. And that's a 6 drop. So but in the quest meta, there's just too many
It's
things that
funny.
can happen.
You would have to make this Murloc a 6 if you wanted to like not be like overpowering. Because I think even as a
Yeah.
5, it would still be quite easy to do. Especially with
Yeah, and
Primal Fins. Like as a
it gives
6,
you like an early power spike as well, where you just put this on the board and you have like 2 poisons guaranteed.
yeah.
So it helps your early game with the Murloc.
So it'd have to be a 6. So you have to change your Murkai, I guess. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I do think that like as a 6 it would probably be okay. And you like running two of them is like a lot harder. There's only 7 in the pool, so you can't have like everyone can't run it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The one issue with that is then maybe you're gonna make it feel like it's a no Murloc lobby, where we could already go for Queen on 6, right? So if you're in a
right.
position to push for 6s,
Right.
then you have access to Queen.
And that poison. So you have 4 poison procs, right? Because you can go
but
double Queen and the double.
you still need to grab 6s. That's the thing. Where a lot of the time, if you're up against these stat monsters, you might not have the ability to play for tier
6. I
6s.
see. So it gives you no windows if you're low rolling, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, this is why balance is hard, right? There's a lot of factors to consider. So I don't know if it's bad from like just thinking about it, but I can see some issues with it, but I'm not sure if they're substantial enough to make it a bad card or a bad card for the game, rather.
It's a cool idea. I mean,
it's good to think about, for sure.
Because I mean, obviously, like the poison is always been an issue since the beginning of the game, in some aspect.
Yeah, I will say that now that Leroy and Queen are a thing, I do hurt less if I'm in the no Murloc lobby. Where I think before Leroy and Queen were things, you would really have this, well, I got a really high roll stats or nothing else matters. So that was the I think that was a Malgadon meta, right? We had a Malgadon meta before Queen. So you could really high roll an Amalgadon in a no Murloc lobby where it rolled poison. But it was harder because you weren't going to be playing with Brand most of the time. You weren't going to be playing with Primal Fin. So it'd be harder to just really have this good economy to support being able to play like 4 tribes and a Brand and then try to roll perfect Amalgadon. So I guess I'm really more scarred from that meta, where if that was a no Murloc lobby and like Elementals were in, for instance, those were so very often very boring games where like, well, that's the Millhouse with a Nomi. Okay.
That's
Literally
true.
nothing I can
I do
do.
remember
Cool.
that as well.
Yeah,
I
like
feel like I'm okay with it being 5, tier 5. I feel like I'm okay with it
mm.
after thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I like the point I was going to make is that I don't have that feeling of desperation right now in
Right.
no Murloc lobbies
Right.
because Queen and Leroy are things.
All right.
So I would say like I'm really happy that they made those cards, even though a lot of people will give them shit for it and be like, "Oh, every end game is Leroy Queen." Like, first of all, that's not true. And second of all, like, yeah, it's kind of normal that you sell your Nomi and then add a Leroy at the end, or that you sell your Brand, or that you sell your whatever your
Don't
tech
sell your
card was.
brand. That's fake.
Yeah,
People are
no,
lying.
that I think that the idea that some players have is that I want to be able to play 7 pirates on my board and then not trade out 1 unit or maybe just have 1 flex slot and keep these 6 pirates that I was buffing and then go into the final fight and then not lose to Queen Leroy. That's like, okay, well, that's cool if you want to stay at the mid level, but if you want to play at a high level, you're gonna have to learn end games. And end games involve tech, involve transitioning out of things. You're probably gonna have to run a blaster, or like if you want to run pure pirate or pure quillbore, you're gonna need selfless blaster Leroy or selfless blaster Baron to deal with enemy Leroy's
Not in that
Queen.
order. Just saying.
No, no, unless they go first, then it doesn't matter. But if you like to live dangerously, just win the flip. No. Regardless, don't want to deviate too much, but just to make a point that I think right now poison isn't as crucial as it was in the meta before Leroy Queen, just because we have theoretically up to 4 board slots that we can already play poisonous or quasi poisonous minions. That really helps with dealing with these massive stat high rollers. Whereas before it was pretty much, well, I sure hope this Amalgadon rolls poison, otherwise, I don't have anything. And even that was only 1 card.
Yeah, there's still some weakness with like Leroy Mantic because it means you have to do more work, right? Because if they blasted you, then your Leroy's
Yeah,
disappear
yeah.
and stuff like
But
that. So
see, I don't mind that. I think if somebody is high rolling and they, cross their T's, dot their I's, and they take all the precautions in
precautions.
the late game, yeah, then I don't mind them winning and beating me because they did the work.
Okay.
What I don't like is somebody just completely disregarding everything because they have numbers. Like, I have numbers, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
That's how I
Like,
play.
you have like 2 of these Master of Realities, like 3 under 300.
Yeah,
And if you know your
I
opponent
lost
doesn't
to
have access
that
to Leroy,
like
yeah,
yesterday.
but it's so bullshit, right? You just sit there, be like, I'm just making my numbers bigger. That
I,
makes me think of Ralph of The Simpsons. Like, I like big numbers. It's like,
I like
I
it
lost to
too.
Ralph. No, come on, give me a Leroy, give me a queen. Like,
Millhouse makes big numbers. I
he
think.
doesn't like big numbers.
All right, sounds good. That's pretty much what we have for today. If there's nothing else to talk about. No,
No, I
enough.
think it's no. I was just muted coughing. I think it's good to
Okay.
try to give my voice a rest as
Yeah,
well. It's
we
really
had
bad.
a long one last week, so this one is a little bit more tame.
Yeah, go
So
listen to that one if you're not done
no,
yet.
but the problem the other one had audio issues. I remember
Yeah,
I
I
saw
was made aware.
you trying to help
Yeah,
someone. I was like, oh okay, it's nice of you.
I care. I care.
Yeah, you do
Yeah,
care. You gave him the exact time. I was like, damn, okay. But
well, I remember roughly when. So it's not too hard to find because your look goes from podcasting to troubleshooting. So you could see on your face when you're troubleshooting.
okay,
So
dude.
I could see when you started looking at the audio sliders and all that. And I knew roughly around what time it happened anyway, so it wasn't hard to find the timestamp.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
it's like an hour 20 or so.
All right, 25.
Yeah,
It's
that's when it
0.01 or something.
that's when it changes. So for those of you who've listened to if you've listened to the previous podcast for a little bit and you're like, oh, this audio is all whack, I'm not going to listen to that one. It's an hour 20 roughly, so you can skip ahead and go go listen to the other half or
I,
3/4 of it because it was a long one.
I actually wanted to fix it, but I don't have the audios in separate tracks, which is what I normally would have.
Oh,
Since all my settings are kind of messed up, I haven't like done my due diligence and like fix all the extra settings. So they were all the same tracks. If I wanted to raise my volume, it'd raise yours, so it was pointless. So I was like, all right, never mind. I'm just gonna post. But yeah, normally I could fix it, but here I didn't have the setup for it, so that was the issue there. But yeah, that should be good. That should be it for us today. Da 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 da. Thank you for joining us. You can find us on Twitch and Twitter, unless Twitter gets shut down in the future. Feedback at hsbgpodcast@gmail.com. And hopefully,
yeah,
I do remember I do need to sleep earlier today. So we'll see
yeah.
how that
I'll,
goes.
I'll see you when I see you.
Hopefully. Yeah, because it means I have to sleep in like 5 hours or so, maybe 5, 6. Oh. And there's stuff I gotta do, so it means I gotta do stuff
Got to
earlier.
do things as well. Oh my,
Yeah,
sleeping and doing things.
it's
Jesus,
the worst.
that's a rough day ahead of you.
All right,
All right, see you guys.
see ya.